just an exciting enterprise, and I'm very, very pleased. Other Michigan community colleges are excited. Initially, there were only 6 of us who participated and received funding, ours coming from the Kellogg Foundation. There are now 7, and there's an intention about another 4 or 5 to get funding as well. So we continue to be benchmarked against with regard to achieving the dream. Sequin, each year, as you know, we are part of the founding organizations that created the Continuous Quality Improvement Network. This year we were in our home state. We actually sojourned over to Detroit and spent some time there thinking about Edison and looking at innovation. How do we allow innovation to occur in our daily work lives in an organization? And we actually went over and had a group travel over to Ann Arbor to visit Menlo Industries. Menlo referring to not Einstein, but thank you. His shop and how he structured all that. There's some unique structures and ways that Edison put that together, encouraging interaction and moving people around. Menlo actually does it with software development, letting people work in twos, one computer screen, working and sharing an idea, and then after a couple days, move them around, shift them around to other organizations so they have new perspectives. So we're using this notion of innovation and ideation, creativity, and wondering how can we imbue that even more, not only into operations of the college, but also our curriculum. And so we're thinking about how we do that with regard to organizational culture, and also applying it to how we can apply best practices and innovation into hiring practices at our institution. So very, very excited about that. On to the budget. For the first time in the history of this college, and we're holding this unique distinction of all 28 in the fleet, the full burden cost, the majority of which is borne by our students, is shocking to me. 56% of the full burden cost of running this institution is borne by our students. Our students are our majority shareholders. I have been approached from time to time by individuals in the community who've offered a sneer or an objection over student housing or something. Pick whatever the topic is, athletics, pick it. And they'll say, I don't like it. That's a bad idea. I shouldn't do it, and I'm a taxpayer. And I'll say, well, with all due respect, sir, the majority shareholders at Jackson Community College are the students, and they're the ones who are asking for this, and we've got to respond to that. I appreciate your contribution, your service, whatever that might be, and with all respect, these are what people are asking for, and this has an effect on what's happening here. The sad news here is the reciprocal part of that. Go back to that for a second, Amanda. Excuse me. The sad part of that is that we're seeing a continuing decline in state support. Tom will tell you that we're somewhere in the mid-80s or so in terms of the level of state support. Local property tax values are going down. Right now, local property tax owners are providing about 11% or so. What is the number there? 12% of the full burden cost of running our institution. We are assisted by the state. We're assisted by the local taxpayer in Jackson County only. We are supported by the students who come seeking education, so they should be the primary driver of our curriculum, of our equipment, of our programming, our support systems. And that is a little bit of the change that I talked to you about before. That's a little bit different than the business model we've had in the past. Let's go on to the next page. This comes from our budget book. These are available to anyone who wants to see them. They're also available online, but this is how we went through and put the budget plan together. We had to put a budget plan together based on uncertainty. We actually start this around the fall. We'll actually get started on this sometime around October, November. We'll do some early planning. It starts getting heavier after the Christmas break. But it is a busy, busy time for us, and it's also based on a lot of uncertainty. We take the information that we have, but we also have to think about a very uncertain future. I do not have the luxury of being anything other than conservative in putting that budget together. We have to maintain and present to the board a sustainable budget, one that is capable of surviving the undulations of enrollment change, one that is capable of surviving economic downturns, and boy, we're in the middle of a doozy. And so we put together something that is comprised of revenues associated with student fees and then related expenses. We make assumptions on where we will be with regard to employment contracts and numbers of people that we'll hire within our organization. We make assumptions about the number of individuals. Did we predict we'd have this many billing contact hours at our institution? No, we didn't. There are some unique things that are going on here, but as each student comes, the days of having a no-cost gain, if you will, no incremental cost of having one student come and sitting in an empty seat in the classroom, those days are long over. That business model doesn't hold anymore. Ask any of the faculty on this campus, and they're doing full classes. There aren't empty seats in there. This year, we only closed 12 classes in the entire fall schedule, all instructional sites. Folks, that's huge. That's huge. We don't have incremental capability here. When more individuals come to our campus, we're having more cost in student services, more cost in marketing, support, instruction. We're adding more cost to our institution overall. So we have to have a budget that is emblematic of a changing dynamic, one that is flexible and responsive to these changing undulations. And these are what we've seen before. The current budget process, as I've shared with you, we really start out with the President's Council reviewing what the current state is. These are the parameters that we kind of look at. We make estimates based on that. We spend a lot of time looking at econometric models. We look at data from number of new housing starts, new business starts, foreclosures, average income, business employment in the region. We have a lot of econometric measures which actually help to guide us. And we do not engage at this point in zero-based budgeting, although that might be one that we think about in the future. We do consider new requests as they relate to those needs that are expressed by our students and by the business community. And then we move forward in June to present that budget. Now, my hope is that we will continue to be more communicative about that and providing more opportunities as we engage the system that I mentioned earlier about looking at a decision-making model that applies not only to operational, in this case, budget issues, but lots of other things as well. The other thing I wanted to mention to you, this is so messy, and that's legislation. I'm sure you've heard the metaphor that there's really no difference between seeing laws made and watching sausage made. They're really kind of messy and grinding, and lots of weird things happen. But let me run through a number of things that are happening now. Let me start first with the legislative level. Two huge initiatives going on. In the watermark in the back, you can see President Obama there. I was very pleased and honored to be invited to be in his presence as he presented the announcement about the AGI, the American Graduates Initiative at Macomb Community College. An exciting statement about the prowess of community colleges in our nation today. Never before, maybe with the exception of World War II and the GI Bill, have we seen this kind of exposure for community colleges, this kind of acceptance and statement of need for community colleges in our country. Folks, that's powerful. And we're using this as an opportunity to really leverage community colleges and our responsibility and funding support that we need to engage that responsibility in very serious and very real ways. The American Graduates Initiative has gone through some changes. It is proposed as being fully funded. It does not have to go through the normal budgetary cycle because of the changes in the federal aid bill that's taking place. In fact, it's been rolled into the SAFRA bill and is expected to be signed and on the President's desk before the Christmas break, the Christmas recess in Congress. And then money available after the 1st of January. Rebecca Woods is here today. Dr. Woods is an employee that we brought aboard to assist us in trying to gather as much of this as we can, helping us focus on everything from new instructional equipment, the additional instructional faculty and staff, and organizational options, being able to reduce interest expense associated with building construction on campus. Folks, we're going after these monies in a very significant way. I'll also mention that the Recovery Act, which is already out there, the funding is available. Dr. Woods is preparing to submit that in partnership with Michigan State University, Allegiance Health, as we look at being able to provide additional support to nursing. There are lots of other funding partnerships out there, health information technology programs, others that you're going to be hearing more and more about as it relates to the funding mechanism and your particular area of responsibility. But we are going aggressively at this because, as you saw before, these normal funding sources under the traditional business model, which was a third of your revenue comes from students, a third from the state, and a third from the local property tax owners, folks, that model is kaput. It is not out there anymore. So we need to rethink about the kind of business model that we need for operating this college. In the center of my equation